the Chase Thomas Podcast, for people who have nothing but time to kill.
All right, hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Chase Thomas Podcast, where I'm still the aforementioned Chase Thomas, coming to you live from Knoxville, Tennessee, Everything School HQ. Joining me, old friend Graham Coffey is here from Dawgs Central. I hate these shows. This week's terrible for so many different reasons, because Graham just... He has the upper hand here. Like, I never get to come into any of these where I'm like, oh, remember last year? Remember? Yeah. No, it's always just like, Graham's going to crush my spirits, because there's like a crazy amount of Tennessee, I guess, betting interest. There's a lot of national folks. I mean, you got Neuheisel, Klatt, Aaron Murray. Like, you just keep going up and down the list. Like, so
all
many
these dudes
people
that don't know jack shit about ball picking the balls. Yeah, it's awesome, man. I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding. But I can see it.
Don't do this. You're such a liar. You're such a liar, Graham.
I'm not lying to you. Let me put it this way. All right. First of all, to your first point about the 8 straight wins from Georgia. I cover Georgia now, so my relationship to Georgia football has fundamentally changed in a lot of ways, to where I don't feel a lot of the same feelings that I used to feel about it. But I can tell you that when I was a kid, growing up with two parents who went to Georgia, I watched Tennessee beat Georgia. I was born in 1989 in the midst of a Tennessee win streak. I think they started in 88. There was a couple of years they didn't play. Then the SEC went to divisions in 92. And Tennessee won every year until 2000, when Georgia won. And I was a 12-year-old kid at the 2000 Georgia-Tennessee game in Sanford Stadium, watching the goalposts get torn down because Georgia had beaten a team that was ranked. It was like that Tennessee team was like pure ass, dude. They were like 21st in the country. And Georgia was just so happy to be liberated from, the Goff-Donnan Tennessee domination. So, like, my point is that these things do come around. They always come around. And Georgia's on the high side of it right now, but we'll both live to see the ebbs and flows, and you got to enjoy the ones you got when you get them, and you got to just kind of look forward to the tide turning when you don't. But I would say I'm very interested to see what the energy is going to be on Saturday in Neyland Stadium. Like, this does not feel to me like one of those games. I joke about, every fall I look forward to Halloween and Christmas and Josh Heupel getting up 7-0 on Georgia. And I don't think this is doing that this year that's not the move if you're Georgia. Like, that's not how you want to play this thing, because you've got a quarterback that's making his first true road start. And yeah, like, he played Texas, beat Texas in the second half in overtime. Yes, he started against Notre Dame in the Sugar Bowl, but this is a different animal. And he is a North Georgia kid who I think understands the gravity of this rivalry in a way that some might not. So I have concerns for the quarterback position for Georgia, straight up. I mean, like, Gunnar Stockton has not shown the willingness to push the ball downfield to this point in the season. His average depth of target last week was 3.2 yards. So, like, Georgia's got this run game that seems to be kind of growing. There's a little fire there, but if you don't get some passing happening downfield to kind of, keep teams honest, then they're going to bring 8 up and they're going to choke that run game out. So they've got to establish something downfield early. I don't even care if they complete a pass downfield at this point. Just, like, show that you're willing to throw a ball 40 yards downfield. Just let everybody know that you can do it, that you're capable, that your right arm is still working, like, everything's fine. Because
are we sure Gunner's not left-handed?
Whoa, man, that'd be crazy. No, I don't think
Ben Simmons. Is it a Ben Simmons situation?
It's a Ben Simmons situation. Yeah. It's
what's interesting, because I was talking to somebody about this week, of like, there are some things that feel different about this rivalry this year. Tennessee Georgia feels different in some ways, because I do think Tennessee had some things they could have built off last year, because I think Tennessee played Georgia the best they played them through the 4 years in the Heupel era. particularly in the first half. Like they could have been up 14-0. Boo Carter was on his way to the end zone before Brett Thorson made a great punter tackle in that one. And Joey McMurray, if he makes that block on Thorson, I mean, it's 14-0, and we'll see because Carson Beck, I mean, he gets in a hole here. Like it could have spiraled on him. And we never saw it. Like there's a sliding doors moment there for Tennessee. But there's some differences too that I think is interesting where Stetson in 21, that was a coming out party for him against Tennessee. Like that's when he kind of like got in a groove and like kind of from then on out was the Georgia star quarterback. And then obviously in 22, he just had that moxie. He was not phased at all and loved the phone calls and the wee hours. And like, he loved it, but he also took deep shots down the field on Tennessee. He was not afraid to uncork it to Aaron Smith and whoever. And then you have Carson Beck, who's the best pure thrower here, but he was a guy who waited his turn and I think has better arm talent than Gunner. I think we can all agree. Like obviously Gunner's a more willing runner, better runner, but like Carson has number 1 overall pick potential. Doesn't mean he always lived up to it, but he had that in him. And one of the things that you saw is like, hey, he could get right. And he diced up Tennessee in 23. Like Tennessee couldn't get home, but he diced Tennessee up slow but steady. Because I was telling people like one of the weird things, like a lot of Tennessee fans this week are really concerned about Zachariah Branch. And I'm like, it's not really the Georgia receivers. They really beefed up their receiver rotation. Like I think they've got a lot of interesting pieces. But one of the things about Tim Banks and what Tennessee's defensive scheme does is like they were the only SEC team not to give up a pass play of 40+ yards last year. So they are built to not give up the big play. Like everyone was so worried about walk-on safety Will Brooks last year, and Will Brooks made a game-winning interception against Alabama. He had the pick 6 against NC State early. Like it's fine. Like part of what they do is they are really good about keeping everything in front of them. Like they couldn't get off the field last year against Georgia because the tight ends just kept with Delp and Lawson. They just really dialed up the middle, but they're not going to give you the big play. Like Tim Banks and company are really going to make you earn it. Georgia has just been happy to be like, all right, I mean, we'll do 12 play drives and eventually score touchdowns on you. The problem is that's not how Tennessee can do things to win this game. And I was telling people, I'm like, yeah, I understand a lot of people think like Tennessee might need 20 points to win. I'm like, y'all are, that's wild to me because I don't think that's, wait, what?
What do you like? What's wild about it? What do you mean?
Because I think Georgia has shown that they have answers here. Like they, like even with the questions with Gunner and everything else, like I need to see Georgia not being able to work it down the field, take their time, running it down Tennessee's throat, especially in the second half. If Tennessee's offense is stuck in neutral, that Georgia is more equipped and their style of play is more equipped to gradually wear you down and have those 10 to 12 play touchdown drives. Tennessee to beat Georgia and to be the best version of Heupel's team, as much as they're doing pistol and now 2 wide receiver sets and they're not doing the far splits all the time now. That is a positive development. But what you're still not going to be able to do is be able to have 28-ish points with 4 sustained drives against Georgia's defense. I think Georgia's defense is probably better than it's been the last couple of years, especially in the front 7. I think they have some real dudes like Chris Cole and Wilson and company. But for me, I'm like, no, you need a shot play. Like you need a 63-yard touchdown to Braylon Staley. You need a punt return touchdown from Boo Carter. Like you cannot ask this offense to have 4 sustained touchdown drives against Georgia. I don't think that's realistic. So I think if we at the end of this game see that the leading receiver for Tennessee was Miles Kitselman at tight end, guess what? I think Tennessee's losing that game. They can beat other teams like that. They can beat Oklahoma like that. They could even beat Florida like that. I don't think they can beat Georgia like that. And that's what's been taken away is Tennessee receivers have not been able to handle Georgia's physical press man secondary where they're going to grab you. They're going to make it really hard for you. And Tennessee has not been able to answer to that. And that's just not how this works. Like Heupel is not going to be able to win this game without a couple big plays that result in touchdowns. Like it's too much.
No, I agree. And I mean, what's interesting is I don't think they can. Well, there's 2 thoughts here. First, for Tennessee's offense. And I mean, I'm not an expert on Tennessee's offense in the way that you're an expert on Tennessee's offense, but was watching the Syracuse game multiple times now was interesting because it was different. It looked different than what we've seen in the past. I've been somebody that's been, often hard on Heupel for like just being too in his lane. We all got to grow and evolve sometimes. And, my argument has just been like, you've got more talent coming into the program. There's better ways to use it than, having your receivers like be able to spit on the sidelines when they line up to start the snap. Like you can do other stuff. But I would say with Aguilar, what's really fascinating to me is so far this year, like they have run like 70% play action with him. And, it seems like about a quarter or so, maybe a little over that of all snaps or RPOs in some level. So I think they're trying to give him stuff that he's comfortable with, but I also look at this and I'm like, I'm with you. They need to create the big plays to win this game. Like I'm sorry. I know defense. Like I've watched Georgia for the last, for the Kirby era. And like this defense it's not 24-23. It's much closer to the ones that came before that in 21-22. I don't
Chris Cole's a dude. Wilson's a dude. Like it just looks a little bit different, but it just looks different. So I think a lot of Tennessee fans have looked this week at Georgia's offense, and I'm like, y'all aren't looking enough at Georgia's defense.
I agree with that. And I think the problem is that I don't know that Tennessee can create that big play that you're talking about unless they can run the football in this game. Because, even with those amounts of play action fakes and as well as they ran the ball against Syracuse, like I saw Syracuse get a decent amount of pressure on him at times. Like I shouldn't say that. What I saw was Josh Heupel calling a game like he didn't quite trust his offensive line to protect his quarterback. And Syracuse got to him at times, but more so I saw, Aguilar do a really good job of getting out of the pocket and distributing and all of that off script. But I worry for them if David Sanders doesn't play in this game on Saturday, which I don't know what the story is there.
He's questionable. I mean, Jesse Perry's graded out really well. Like Jesse Perry's a good tackle. I mean, it's Tennessee, regardless of whether or not David Sanders plays, they're better at right tackle than they were a year ago. Like
I'm talking about left tackle.
Well, left tackle is Lance Hurd. Lance Hurd's been really good.
Yeah.
I'm a Lance Hurd guy, man. It's a contract year. He's great.
You be who you want to be, but
Lance Hurd is the least of Tennessee's problems.
I think there's a lot of spots on that offensive line that I would be concerned about if I get into obvious passing situations against
That's
Georgia.
Interesting.
And I will say that about everybody probably that Georgia plays to a certain extent, but I see a quarterback in Aguilar that's like got to get the ball out quickly in this game and also has the pressure of needing to be explosive and take shots. And I look at Georgia's defensive flexibility just with Chris Cole and some of those guys you named who like they might line up over the slot. They might line up on the edge. They might actually play linebacker. Chris Cole was a high school safety, for God's sake. Like he can go play wherever.
He made it Peyton Lewis.
Yeah. But I don't know what that means, but sure.
Peyton Lewis, the running back for Tennessee from Salem.
Oh, yeah. I thought you said he made a Peyton Lewis. Okay.
No, but Tennessee was in that. That was like a Tennessee-Georgia battle to the end, like for Chris Cole.
Yeah. Salem, Virginia. But I do think that like Georgia probably has some stuff up their sleeve in terms of disguising who's going where because they can kind of break their traditional positional rules. Everybody's sort of playing in different spots right now. Or they might put 4 inside linebackers on the field and 2 of them are the linebackers and you might not really know who they are at the snap. So it's going to be very interesting to me to see if Aguilar can avoid the big whoopsie daisy moment.
It's a fine line, but to me, I'm like, I think he needs to explore. Like, this game, you need to look at, like, he needs to explore, man, because I don't think he can beat Georgia without exploring. Like, I think he needs to, I mean, he threw up a duck for Mike Matthews in the end of that ETSU game, and Mike made a great play, and it was cool. But I think there was one play, when you were at the Syracuse game, like, Syracuse batted a ball in the red zone, down and a Syracuse safety was like grabbing his helmet because that was a pick 6, like a 99-yard pick 6 in that game. He was just following Aguilar, and it's over the middle of the field where he can get a little bit aggressive, and that's where it's just really hard to throw over the middle of the field, especially against Georgia. Like it's really dangerous.
You've got to though in this game.
Exactly, that's the thing. Is like you have to live with him being aggressive. You got to see what happens.
Georgia's boundary corners are too good. I mean, like I think Georgia's got. I don't know what combo they'll do of the 3 that they've been playing, but Dalen Everett was the SEC championship game MVP last year and was Georgia's number 1 corner. I'm not sure he's not the 3rd best boundary corner they've got right now. So I think, he might play over the slot some, but like Tennessee, if it's not Staley in the slot or Kittlesman, I don't really know how reliable they can be passing the football in this game. But I could be wrong, but like I don't see Staley getting deep on KJ Bolden in the back end of Georgia's defense at safety. So the way that he went for 72 yards against Syracuse, like I'm with you. Tennessee needs a play like that. I have a hard time figuring out where it comes from. But the flip side of this for Georgia with Gunner is I really do not know exactly. I don't know what we're going to get from him on Saturday. I really don't. And that's kind of hard. That's wild to say because like he did play in a college football playoff game, and he was not the reason Georgia lost that game. If he performs the way he performed in New Orleans, Georgia will win this game on Saturday. I feel confident about that because he completed enough and did enough nice things to keep the defense honest. But I don't like it's that exploration part that you were just talking about with Aguilar. Like Gunner seems so hesitant to do anything downfield and afraid of turning the ball over that he's missing open men downfield that are running around wide open in the secondary. He's not throwing the football to them. You can't live like that for very long. So Georgia has got to, I think like if Gunner plays well on Saturday, I think Georgia probably wins this game by a couple possessions, honestly. Like I feel like that's probably what's in the cards, but I don't know that he's going to play well. Like, so, I think there's a chance.
How nervous are you like, is this on a scale of 1 to Brock Vandegrift, where are you at with Gunner Stockton?
I don't know. I really don't, man. I mean, I don't know it's week 1, week 2. I'll tell you on Saturday night, right? Like, I mean, we'll know everything by 7:00 on Saturday night about him. But
if you gave true serum to everyone who's in the know, like for Georgia, would you say the majority would be like, yeah, Gunner's gonna be fine, or would you think that they would say Gunner's not? We have real concerns.
I don't know. Maybe that he's probably that he's going to be fine just because we've got the sample set from him at the end of last year. But like,
so that's interesting. So if like you had no sample size of last year, like would it be like code red right now for you?
Yes, I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I would. I mean, and look, I've seen Kirby Smart do this against bad teams early in his schedule. Yeah. Like I laughed at people for months after they were like, well, Kent State scored 22 on 2022 Georgia. So, maybe the Vols will beat them, or whatever it was. But like, I'm just kind of like, I'm reserving judgment because I don't want to be the dumbass that like walks out in front of this bus. Because I do think that it is on the table. Like one of the range of outcomes of this game is that Georgia comes and like, pardon my language, but like drops nuts, announces themselves for the 2025 season, and that this game is like basically it's like Georgia's version of the 2015 Georgia-Alabama game when Georgia was like, oh, we got Grayson Lambert transferred in from Virginia. He's looking great. Just tore up Steve Spurrier's terrible South Carolina team. Like
completion percentage though, man, 21 of 21. What was it?
Yeah,
what did
he set the NCAA record for consecutive completions. Like we're tearing it up. We're feeling good. And then like Bama comes in and it's like, yeah, like we do have Jay Coker at quarterback and he's still kind of figuring things out. But guess what? Like we're still Bama and we still have bodies all over the line of scrimmage that you don't have. And we still got Derrick Henry or, whoever. So, I'm very fascinated to see what this is because I don't. If this was like last year's Tennessee team, I would be very, very concerned for Georgia because I think last year's Tennessee team, I didn't like what I saw from Tennessee as a run defense against Syracuse on the whole.
They're really banged up. Like that's the problem. Yeah. The interior is they're banged up. I think Tennessee has a lot.
What is it? Is it Weathersby?
Weathersby is a strong side defensive end. It seems like he's going to play.
I like him a lot.
Yeah, he's a good player. He's going to play, it seems like. Jackson Moy, they really need back in the interior starting next to Easton. Because like that, he got banged up early in the Syracuse game. And you're having to play a lot of true freshmen. Like there's like Ethan Utley and Isaiah Campbell are going to have to rotate at defensive tackle in this game. They're true freshmen 5 and 4 stars, but like you really needed David Hobbs. Like he was the guy who was going to be this year's Omar Norman Lott to me. And have that pressure from the interior where I think he had that next level. And this was a big year for him. And we'll hopefully get him back in a couple of weeks. But Yeah, I mean, I think I said before the year, and a lot of ball fans got mad at me, or I was like, I think this is kind of a transition year defensive line wise because
It feels that
they
way.
like it feels you never doubt out Rodney Garner. Like it's not good practice to just be like, I'm not sure about Rodney Garner's unit, but sometimes it's just like the cycles. Like it's not a Rodney Garner
I
problem.
mean,
It's just
Georgia just went through this.
yeah, and
Like,
it's like a like I and I mean this in all like positive like I how can I frame this? Because I don't want it to sound callous, but it's like you have a bunch of B plus guys starting for Tennessee's defensive line this year. You had a first and second round guy in last year, and Omar Norman-Lott and Jay Spears. Like you have like Joshua Josephs, I think is probably the best you have, and I think Joseph's 2 sacks through 2 weeks. He's still really good, but he's not a high sack guy. Like Josephs is good, but he's kind of like a Swiss Army knife around the defensive line. You can move him all over the place, but he's not elite at one particular thing. And Pierce was elite at one particular thing. Omar Norman-Lott was elite at one particular thing. Tyler Barron 2 years ago was elite at one particular thing. And they've never really found that whole that balance that they had 2 years ago, where Barron and Pierce had 17 and a half sacks between the two of them. Like those two on third downs, they were just so good playing off one another that the next wave, though, Jordan Ross, and you look at David Hobbs, you look at Isaiah Campbell, Ethan Utley, Tyree Weathersby, like the guys who are behind some of these older vets who are good leaders, but not high upside players. I think Tennessee's defensive line is going to be scary good in 27 and 26. But this year, it's just kind of a gap year. That's why they have to be aggressive. Like Edwin Spillman and Aaron Carter in the first quarter of this game on Saturday night, they have to be flying at Gunner. Like that's my whole thing is like they need to be blitz heavy because they didn't blitz last year. They sent 4 on Carson all night long, and he didn't get touched once and 40 dropbacks, no hits, anything. You can't do that. Like you can't let Gunner get comfortable here. You have to be aggressive and let that burn you once to show that he can actually do that.
I agree.
Like,
I agree. That's exactly. I mean, yeah, you've got it. He's got to prove that he's willing to toast you. Because so far, what I've seen from him is when he sees kind of pressure packages and blitz packages, he will check into, like a screen or something on the perimeter to try and take advantage of the man-to-man matchups out there, which is not terrible thinking. But like eventually, you see all that cover zero, like just throw it over their heads, brother. Like just let your guys run past them. You got guys.
You're not going to see a lot of cover zero from Tennessee on Saturday.
No, I don't expect that either. I just mean,
yeah.
I'm speaking philosophically.
But I mean, that's why it's so interesting. It's like Gunner's going to have to, like Carson and Stetson worked Tennessee's defense slowly and methodically. I just don't know if
Gunner's built for that. He is, but
okay.
It's like I'm not talking about he needs to make hero moonshots. Like he just needs to throw, some like 15 air yards attempts down the field. Like it doesn't have to be. And it seemed like Tennessee played a ton of zone against Syracuse and was kind of, especially as they got ahead in that game, there was no reason really to be aggressive. But early in that game, I saw Tennessee blitzing from lots of different places in the back seven, and I saw them, playing some more kind of press type coverages. And I think that it'll be interesting to see how they approach this game because Georgia does have like studly wide receivers this year, but the question is, you're kind of like daring Gunner to call your bluff if you go that way. And maybe he will, maybe he won't. Like it might be the right move, but I am curious to see for Georgia in this game. Like we were talking about the Tennessee offense, just there is a world for me where I think Georgia, like if they stop the run, then I don't know if Tennessee's gonna be able to pass in this game.
It's the most interesting part of this is I have no idea what to make of Joey Aguilar in this game. Aguilar,
I mean, he could. I think he could be really good.
Yeah,
he could.
I could also see
he needs a run game. He needs a run game. He needs. I don't think it's a great sign for Tennessee's offensive line. A, that you're running this much play action against like Syracuse and East Tennessee. It's not. It really isn't. And then B, that you're giving up like the same pressure rate to Syracuse's defensive line. Actually, you gave up a higher pressure rate to Syracuse's defensive line than UConn gave up to them despite all of that play action. So I just think like they need that run game to keep Georgia honest. But I also look at it, man, and you know, did you see Tennessee in week 1? They were, I think, like 21 gap scheme, 16 zone scheme runs, and those 16 zone scheme runs went for 35 yards total. Yeah. I mean, they were great on the gap scheme stuff. Like, ripped it up for, I think, 160 yards or so, maybe more than that.
Because zone was huge. I mean, that's how they destroyed Mississippi State. When Nico got hurt, Gaston Moore just went in. They were like, we're just doing inside zone for the rest of the second half, and we're just gashing you to death.
That's what I'm saying when I say, like, the offensive line for Tennessee feels like people are talking about Georgia's offensive line when maybe, as the suspect unit, which I think there's questions about who's going to be out there. They've been playing without 40% of their starting 5, and I'm not sure that they won't be playing without at least 20% of it on Saturday. But
I put in a request for Bad Ernest Green to make an appearance.
Bad Ernest. Big Bad Ernest. I like that, dude. Ernest is such an old school name. That's such an awesome name. Like, if I needed to get like a dude named Ernest, it's like, yeah, I think I can trust you. So, yeah,
Well, let's put a bow on it this way. What's your final prediction? We'll get you out of here on this, Graham. What do you think ultimately happens?
Ultimately, I think that the key stat for me for Tennessee so far this season, which there's a level of variance in this that could change, but inside their own 40, Syracuse had 6 trips inside the Tennessee 40. Tennessee had 6 trips inside the Syracuse 40, plus the 72-yard bomb, plus the defensive touchdowns. But Tennessee's success rate allowed, their defensive success rate against Syracuse inside the 40 and against East Tennessee State, for that matter, which I know that was a little wonky, but it's high. It's very high. So I think for Georgia, it's like you probably – I don't know how many drives you get in this game, but I think that they have a better chance of taking advantage of their drives than Tennessee does. And really part of the calculus here is just that I think it's much more likely Georgia wins the turnover battle in this game than Tennessee does. And so I kind of think that – is Tennessee's kicker good this year?
Yeah. Max Gilbert's been awesome. He hasn't missed a kick since the Kentucky game. Okay.
Gotcha. Well, I think him and Peyton Woodring, the kickers are going to matter a lot in this game.
Special teams as a whole, like Boo's going to matter a bunch.
Boo Carter looks heavy to me, dude.
Interesting.
Why has he played only like 25 snaps a game so far this year?
That's Graham Coffey. What?
I'm just saying. I've seen Tennessee people being like, "Oh, this is the week he plays wide receiver." I'm like, it might be more like tight end, brother.
No, he's not playing wide receiver this week. I would be very surprised if we see Boo Carter on that. Like, I'm just trying to get Boo Carter to start again at star. Like,
it's rough. I mean, he looks like his blitzing has been nice, but
he's good off the edge. Like Boo, you know what's funny to put a bow on it?
Jalen Walker.
Say it again.
Boo Carter, Jalen Walker.
Okay, that's enough. But I will say, Boo, like, it's kind of funny because like Boo made 9 guys miss on his punt return that he got to like the one against ETSU. Like he's shifty. He and Mike Matthews are the only 2 guys with like real wiggle on Tennessee where they can make the first guy miss. But I was talking to some folks today on the show where I was like, it's kind of wild. I had this thought yesterday, and we'll put about like just because this is a Georgia conversation too, kind of is. I kind of wonder if we look back years from now, we're like, Mike should have just been a safety and Boo should have been a wide receiver. And we just did this backwards where we should have flipped these. I don't know if they wanted it because like Boo is so good with the ball in his hands and he's just so naturally gifted as a runner, as someone who just in an era where it's harder and harder to tackle. Boo Carter is one of the hardest guys to tackle in the SEC and bring down, that there's more value to him at receiver than there is for him at star. And Mike Matthews is his athleticism and his ability to probably be a good coverage safety, someone who could play star, move around a little bit with his speed. Maybe he should have been a safety and Boo Carter should have been a receiver. It's something that's in the back of my mind where I'm like, I think these guys are playing backwards positions.
No, I'm with you, man. I'm with you on that. That's an interesting theory. It might pan out even more over time, but anyways, you asked me what my score prediction is.
Yeah, what's your final score prediction here?
I think it's something like, Georgia, like Georgia wins like 23-15 or something like that.
That's gross, man. They got even 17 last year at home. If they can they never break 17? Like, is Tennessee ever allowed to break 17 against Kirby?
No, they're not. That's like the seal. Like, it's like you can't bring. It's like Indiana Jones. The Grail can't pass the seal. You know, so it's like.
Why do I do these podcasts with you? I hate Tennessee Georgia. It's terrible for me. I hate it.
I'm not being rude, man. I mean, like, I've just look. History doesn't always rhyme, but it doesn't always repeat, but it often rhymes. And so far, like, Josh Heupel he's Flava Flav, man.
I feel like Uncle Baby Billy right now. Go on,
get your ass out of here. But no, man, I honestly say this genuinely to all Tennessee fans. First of all, I feel like you guys don't like me, but I actually am like very complimentary of your program.
I was gonna say, wait, who are we talking about? I like you very much, Graham. I was like, hey, you're pointing at me and saying, "Oh,
no,
I don't
Tennessee fans in general." But second of all, I would say I do think the range of outcomes in this game is wider than it has ever been in any Georgia-Tennessee game since Kirby Smart's first year. Okay, so like there is a range of outcomes where Gunner just like is a guy who just doesn't see the field on this day and like doesn't get the ball out, and he's just throwing passes behind the line of scrimmage and they're just moving backwards forever in a day. And then there's a world where Gunner is really good, or not, you know, like Heisman worthy or anything like that, but like is very good and effective and efficient and kind of picks them apart and takes what is given to him the way that Carson and some of these guys you talked about earlier in the show did. So there's a lot that can happen. There's a world, I think, that Joey Aguilar's legs and ability to throw on the run and in movement and keep his eyes downfield, that is a different trait for a Tennessee quarterback. And that could sort of change some of the dominance that Kirby has had defensively against Heupel. So I'm excited to find out what's going to happen, because especially on the Georgia side, like I feel like we've learned nothing from the first 2 weeks for the most part, except for that, like they've got, 98 players that they can put into a football game apparently. So we're going to find out a lot on Saturday. It should be fun. And hey, it's a 12-team era. So it's not, whoever loses is probably going to benefit from the loss in terms of the corrections that are made and move on and maybe make a playoff. So it'll be fun, and I'll look forward to checking out Knoxville. It's a wonderful city. I used to come there for outdoor industry trade shows a lot when I lived out west. So I enjoy me some Knoxville. It's a beautiful place.
There you go. Graham Coffey, dogcentral.com. Go check it out today if you've not already. Graham, we will talk again very soon.
Later, buddy.
Nicely done, nephew. The Chase Thomas Podcast. Hell yeah.